everybody. Welcome to Side Character Quest, the show where I have not come up with an intro yet, but that's okay because we've got somebody here as a guest. Hey, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Eliane. I liked Dungeons and Dragons and shit.
Yeah.
Can I curse on your show? I should have asked that earlier.
No, you can never curse. I'm going to censor everything you say, include all of the curse words you say, plus anytime you say the name of a pet, I'm gonna censor that. So just be prepared. Aw beans. No, you can definitely curse, 100%. Yeah, this show, we've got that sort of American PG-13 version of censorship where we are okay with over-the-top violence and death and cruelty, but don't you dare mention a dingle-dangle or a bingleberry. That's, oh boy.
How dare you, sir, imply that I would ever mention a dingle-dangle?
I am very sorry. And don't worry, those mentions will definitely 100% be censored. And I will not, yeah, definitely. Since we have a new person on the show, I was wondering if you could tell people, like, what is your Dungeons and Dragons, your tabletop experience? We'll do this for like 10 minutes or something before we actually get in the show.
Well, I always kind of, like, since high school, I wanted to start playing Dungeons and Dragons because I was like, I like playing make-believe. I like character building. This seems like it would be fun. And then every single person who ever told me that they would teach me how to play Dungeons and Dragons did not do it. So I graduated college and came back home, decided that I didn't want to do the thing that I went to college for, went to community college, joined their gaming club with the express purpose of finding a D&D group, and I did within like 3 weeks.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing. You basically went to school for D&D.
I did. I basically went to school for the express purpose of learning how to play Dungeons and Dragons.
Nice. Well, that is great. I know you had mentioned to me before the show started that you haven't been playing D&D for a while.
Yeah.
You've been doing another system, another thing?
Yeah, I've been playing GURPS. It stands for generic. It's either generic or like generalized. I can never remember.
Generalized, unified.
But then universal roleplay system.
Oh.
GURPS.
So it can be fantasy or sci-fi or...
Yeah, fantasy, sci-fi. They've got like a bunch of different... They've got like hundreds of skills that you can buy for your character. So it's not just like, I think I'm going to do acrobatics. There's like everything from simple acrobatics to specific things. Like you can make a character who can literally fly, and they have stuff for that. They have like flying speeds, swimming speeds. It's yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. I dig it. So yeah, that is perfectly fine. You'll probably end up being a little bit rusty, but the thing is, any of the listeners of the show will know it's been a while since we've had somebody on the show who is actually not rusty with D&D. The only person who was like actually ready for D&D was our first guy, Eli. Then we had Lexi, and she I thought she was very into D&D. Turns out she had never played D&D before. So that was an experience. It was a very fun experience. Yeah. And then we had Amber, who they know a lot about D&D, but they were like, can we play Monster of the Week? And then we started playing Monster of the Week, and it turned out it wasn't really the best fit for the type of thing that we were doing. But hey, you roll with the punches. And actually, also, fun little news fact. In addition to this being the first episode that I'm recording with someone I've never met in person before. this is also the first episode that we are recording out of order because we have not recorded the final episode of Amber's story yet. Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Good luck.
Yes, good luck. I have like 2 months before it's supposed to air, so hopefully I can record it before then. Okay, so it looks like this would be the right time for me to jump in and say that we were not actually able to wrap up Silas's arc in the planned amount of time. Some people might have guessed that based on the fact that we have moved on to somebody else. But between like work stuff, moving, blah, 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 Amber and I just weren't able to make our schedules work together to finish everything up. So the plan right now is to return to Silas's story in the future. And in the meantime, Amber's choices in that arc will have effects on the rest of the world of SCQ. While I'm here, if you are a listener, say hi. We're at sidecharacterquest@gmail.com. We're at SCQ Podcast on Twitter. Tell us how you've been enjoying the show. So around the holidays, we're hoping to do a side character questions episode. So if you have any questions for me or for Eli, any of the players that have been on the show, whether it's about us, about our experiences with D&D, or about the world of Side Character Quest, about any of the characters, whatever, I don't care. Send us a question. Send it by email. Send it by Twitter. Oh, and one last thing. I know that we allude to this a little bit in the show, but Fantasy Shorts is currently on a hiatus, but you guys should definitely check out Capes and Japes. Thanks for listening, and we'll get back to the show now. But yeah, I think I'm trying to think. Do you? So we met because you have your own show, and we'll probably plug this at the end of every episode. But like, just go ahead and plug that right here, so anybody listening knows what you got. What you got?
Yeah. My show's called Fantasy Shorts, a GURPS roleplay podcast.
Nice.
All of our social media is at GURPScast because it's much shorter than trying to get like Fantasy Shorts, a GURPS roleplay podcast in there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, right now we're actually in between campaigns, so we're on a bit of a hiatus, but we do have like 50-something episodes.
Yeah, because you guys do every week, right?
It is a weekly podcast when we're not on
except
hiatus.
Except you're on hiatus, yes.
But we have 2 campaigns in there, one where I'm a character and one shorter campaign where I'm the GM. And
fun.
That was fun.
Yes, I listened to the first like 5 episodes of the first campaign that you were not in, but I listened to that a while ago when I first asked you to be on here, so I do not remember tons about it. But it was very fun. Yes, it was a very fun show, and I recommend that people check it out. It was good. My only problem is I've gotten deep into some audiobooks, which has killed my fantasy podcast listening schedule lately.
It's okay. I've been doing, like, for the past 6 months, been trying to catch up on the backlog of Dear Hank and John.
I don't know that show.
It's Hank and John Green. They're more popular on the YouTube scene. The Vlog Brothers.
Okay, cool.
But they have a podcast. It's fun. I saw them at PodCon, and I was like, I should listen to their podcast.
Nice. So, I think that it's probably time for us to jump into the show. So, let us go into this show. Light strikes your eyes, as it does most every morning. You look out upon a horizon where the red sunrise bleeds into the rolling red hills. There's a city out there in the distance. You can see towers and spires, some broken. Maybe some have their own herald inside. You awake and you signal the day. How do you do it? Maybe you have like a bell that you ring, or maybe you have horns, maybe you have a banner that you drop every morning. Like what do you do in the morning to signal that the day has come? at the top of this church tower?
Probably a big old bell. Bells are good.
All right. So yeah, you get up and you have a scattering of possessions around you. You have a small cot. It's a very sparse life, but you've find it pretty comfortable. And you can see just these rolling red hills off in the distance. And you go up to the bell and you get that thing a ringing, and it rings out into the distance. So describe to the listener, like, what does your character look like?
She's a big ol' half-orc, around like 5'11".
Okay.
So she's pretty tall. She wears very modest clothes. Very, very church. Very, very much, I give everything that I have to the poor and the deserving.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to remember what else she looks like because I made her like a year ago.
Oh no. Okay. Well, as
no.
you think about that, roll me a perception check. And feel free to like throw some little character appearance details into your answers for stuff as time goes on and as you remember things.
All right. I mean, I'm also not sure if I ever really gave her a specific look in the first place. So that's fun too.
You can just discover this look as time goes on.
15, and I've got +4 perception, so that comes to a 19.
Oh, geez. Okay, so looking
I can see for miles and miles.
You can see for miles. You can literally see for miles. You see, looking off into various directions as after you finish ringing the spell. You see the mountains off in off the opposite way from the city, and you see a number of roads that are going off in various ways, but they all are meeting right at this crossroads where your church is. And you can see some movement way off in the distance towards the city on these roads. But more importantly, you can see a cart down below that is rolled up to the church. And you recognize this cart early in the morning as one that belongs to an old human person. Let's figure something out real quick. A human woman. She is somebody that you've known since you were a young half-orc. She is someone who visits this church every once in a while, and she occasionally will bring you little trinkets from her travels. And she's one of the few people that you actually have much of a relationship with beyond the leader of this church. So at this point, what do you want to do?
She'll kind of like look around, make sure that like she's done all of her chores.
Okay.
And then just like, yep, everything's good. Time to go.
You run down these stairs, spiraling down their way through this church tower. You exit out through some back passageways, some hidden halls, into this big open cathedral, where you can hear. You can see that the door is still slightly open, slightly cracked open from when somebody had entered. This door always gets stuck. It never closes all the way unless you purposely push it. You see a small pack that you recognize definitely belongs to this woman that I should probably come up with a name for her, huh?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. What should her name be? Let's look at a generator, unless you have an idea. Generate.
Nope.
Generate name for woman.
Google, generate name for woman.
Random girl name generator, please. I would like a random girl name. These do not seem fantasy enough.
What are they, just like Jessica?
Jewel, Mary Jane. I mean, I did name somebody Velma in with the first arc, so it's hard for me to be critical. That is a good name. opening up this fantasy name generator. Let's pull from the humans and the gnomes, because I imagine the gnomes will be a little bit more fantasy. I'm gonna go with this is a really, really simple name, but I'm gonna go with no. Just a second. I'm gonna do some quick practice. The name is Alberta. Is the name Alberta? So okay, cool. So you have run down and you see in this big open chamber. There's pews ahead of you. There's just light streaming in from the rising sun from stained glass windows, and down at the end of the church, the space in a cathedral that has a name, I'm sure, that I'm forgetting the name. Anyway, down by the altar, you see two figures. You see Father Crayon, who is wearing his full regalia, his full priestly robes, doing his normal morning rituals. And you see Alberta, this nice old woman who has been very kindly to you throughout your life, standing talking to him, and you can hear a bit of a heated conversation as you're standing there. This is a little bit of what you're hearing. Alberta is going to be the person speaking first, and let me fall into the voice. One moment.
I'm telling you, Crayon, I can't. I wouldn't come to you if I didn't need things. If it wasn't important. But I need help with this. I know. You know me.
It doesn't matter what you want at this moment. She has a duty, and that duty is here. Not with you, not doing whatever crazy quest you have for her.
It's not just about me, it's about all sorts of things. I don't know how to describe it. Things are happening that are beyond you or me. They're beyond her, they're beyond this, they're beyond the evil that you fight fruitlessly here.
You say that it's fruitless, but I know my destiny, and my destiny is to keep the world free from evil, and she is my sword.
Damn you, Agaras, you think just because you follow your destiny means that you're a good person, that you aren't a good man just because you're doing what you're destined to do. You can only be a good man if you're doing what you need to do, and what you need to do is listen to me right now.
Do you step in? Do you do anything at this point?
Oh no, I cannot interrupt.
Okay.
I am not allowed to interrupt.
At this point, Father Crayon, it's kind of like Crane, but with one of those little like apostrophe things in it. It's like Crayon. Father Crayon sort of raises up his hand to Alberta and motions for her to stop talking, and Alberta doesn't react in like a sort of offended way, just sort of steps back and allows him to finish going through some motions. You see a light form in front of his chest as he sits on the altar and draws a line around himself. Some little fires pop up into existence around him. And he starts doing a ritual that is a ritual you recognize as one that he does every morning at a particular time. And he does pretty much without fail, even when you guys are traveling and off doing your own thing. And when this happens, Alberta just sort of throws up her hands in frustration, and she turns and walks back over to a pew and sits down, and is just sort of quietly like muttering to herself as she waits for Father to finish his thing, which generally takes about 10 to 20 minutes.
It's my chance.
It's your chance.
I'm going to sit next to Alberta.
You walk up to Alberta and you sit down on the pew next to her. The pew, I assume as a half-orc, you are pretty beefy. Is that correct? Or are you?
Yeah, she's pretty beefy, but not in a way that like she tries to be super beefy. She mostly relies on the magic that she gets from her religion.
Gotcha. Okay. So you're large, but you're not. You're like a normal large woman beefy, not like you are not big for a half-orc. You're pretty. No. Yeah. Okay. So you sit down on the pew, and as pews are wont to do, it creaks a little bit, but a normal human amount. And
not like a big old beefy half-orc amount, just like a big old beefy woman amount.
Just a big old beefy woman amount. And you sit down next to Alberta, and you go into just, I assume you just like sort of hands clasped on your lap, kind of like, sitting next to her. And Alberta looks towards you and says,
"Oh, there you are, my child. How are you doing this morning?"
"I'm doing fine, Alberta. How are you?"
"Oh, I'm doing wonderful.
And you see a little darkness pass over her eyes, metaphorically.
I'm just like, oh no, is she about to get possessed?
No, a little darkness pass over her eyes, and she says,
"Well,"
she looks to Crayon, and she says,
"I suppose he wouldn't really like me going straight to you, but if I'll be honest, I've been having some dreams, some memories almost of dark things. I feel like something's coming, and I really need your help. I need."
She looks like she's pained to be she doesn't want to be asking you these things. Especially, she feels like she should be going through Crayon.
She should be.
She should be. And at the same time, I don't know if your character would have picked up on this over time. She respects Crayon and what he does and what you do with him, which is, running this church, purging evil from these dark red clay lands. But at the same time, do I want to tell, not show? I think I'm gonna hold back.
I'm just like, does she have more nuance?
Yeah.
The world isn't all good versus evil.
Yeah. So she reaches into her pocket, and she pulls out a let's see, what does she pull out? She pulls out a little object, a little trinket. What is it that she pulls out? I'm asking you.
Don't ask me. My first thought was a tooth. Bad time to take a drink.
Listeners, I almost spit out my Coca-Cola. Yes. So she pulls out a large tooth that looks like it comes from a crocodile or maybe a dragon, something like that. Very, very big tooth. And she hands it to you, and she says,
Here you go. Here you go, my child. It's from a wyvern. I found a skeleton of one off on my travels. I thought you might like a little something from that ways.
Thank you very much. I've never seen a wyvern.
Oh, they're basically like a dragon or a drake, but just kind of halfway in between the two.
Huh.
It's got big wings, but not quite as tall as one of those dangerous dragons. But who am I? You've seen a lot of things, though, on your travels, when he takes you from here.
Yes, I have, but never a wyvern. She just kind of like looks at the tooth, and she's kind of just like looking at it and turning it over and just like trying to imagine what halfway between a dragon and
and
a
a Drake
drake
would be.
looks like.
Yeah. I feel ya. So at this point, I think that unless you have any specific questions for her, she sort of lets her head rest and she starts praying and is waiting for Father Crayon to finish with his ritual, his morning rituals. Do you do anything in the meantime? Do you have any sort of like a chore that you're supposed to do, or do you have any questions for her?
No, she already finished her chores, otherwise she wouldn't have come down to say hi.
Gotcha.
And she does not speak until she is spoken to, especially in the church. So prayer time.
Gotcha. Okay. What was the voice I used for Father Crayon like 5 minutes ago?
Oh no.
I think it was something like this. Was it like this?
No, that seems too comedic. It was more like not quite English. It was very dry.
Well, I'm speaking. Hello. Was it something like this? Something
That
more
sounds closer. But now I'm just like full of doubt now.
I have so much doubt in my heart.
This is like ridiculous. This is like I don't think I've ever listened to a D&D show where somebody has forgotten the voice they were using in the middle of the show. Oh man. Okay, well,
I mean, you have listened to The Adventure Zone.
Yes.
Have you not?
yes, but I mean, even on the even with Mr. Jenkins, he was switching it up like between episodes usually, right? Like, did he ever forget in the middle of an episode?
I feel like he must have.
Oh boy.
He always made such a big deal about like, no, well now I can't remember what this guy sounded like.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Yep. So a few minutes later, you see a flash as all of the little small fire particles meet in the center in front of Father, and they just flash really bright. And the line around him, the line of some sort of chalk or dust or something, ignites and burns until it is all gone. And he stands and he looks towards Alberta and sees you sitting next to her. He has been completely focused. He has not noticed or heard a thing that you guys have been talking about, but you know this from experience. He just is like out of it when he's doing that. And he walks over to you and says, oh man, I'm getting doubts again. I'm getting doubts about this voice.
Child, prepare the altar for this afternoon.
And dismisses you to go to the altar and start messing with those things. I assume you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. You walk over maybe 15, 20 feet away to begin preparing some candles, preparing some... Hey, people always use wine in churches. How about here? How about here at this church? Here at this church? Here?
At this church?
At this church?
Here?
Here? How about here they use gin? So yeah. So you prepare the gin in like its little flagon and prepare vestments and so forth, getting everything ready for the mass that you are going to be running later in the day. People generally don't really come to this church. Your general like schedule is every day you sort of run through your normal rituals, normal preparations, and every once in a while somebody will be coming along one of the paths and stop, and you'll be ready if somebody comes. But you don't have like regular people that show up, which means that when you guys need to go off on one of your missions to slay some sort of evil thing off a ways, you're not leaving behind a big congregation that is counting on you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alberta and Fran begin talking some more, and
listen, she can't just keep doing things that you tell her. Sometimes she is going to have to make her own choices. Can you at least let me ask her myself? Can you at least give me the opportunity to see if she deems deems these things worth following through on.
Crayon has a moment of, he smiles a little bit in like a kind of smug way, and says, I don't know what you expect. You're going to have to convince me if you're going to convince anyone. At this point, you hear a knock on the door of the cathedral. You hear a loud thud, thud, thud. And Father Crayon looks up to you and he says, you're done with that. Go see who's at the door. And I assume you obey.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. You go up to the door that you had come in earlier, the one that Alberta had pulled up to, and you reach your hand to grab the handle and pull the door open. But at that moment, right when you grab on, the door slams open. You get shoved back by the force as you see three figures silhouetted by the sunlight in front of you. Two of them are fairly imposing, fairly large and muscular. One is significantly smaller, and you do not recognize any of the three. What is your immediate reaction to this?
Take a couple steps back.
Okay.
And I feel like the only real, unusual thing that has happened here for Deirdre is the slamming open of the door. Usually people are more like, this is a church. You do things slowly.
Yes.
You open the door gently when you enter and you close it gently when you leave. But seeing strangers is not really that unusual. But most likely just takes a couple steps back, kind of looks at them waiting for the next cue. Like if they're asking for directions or a place to stay the night, or if they're here to cause trouble.
Okay. The one standing in the middle, which you recognize as a hobgoblin, which are a fairly tall creature in leather armor. Creature. It's a person with they have orangish skin, and they call out to you,
Hey, how are you doing what are you doing over there? Let us through.
And then the one that's a little bit shorter says, yeah, man, we don't have any business with you. Just scoot on aside. And the other one, a tall orc woman, says, and that's all she says.
I'm just like, ooh, I'm hanging on every word.
So they are going to just shove past you if you are okay with that.
I mean, this seems like they're here to not have a good time, right?
That's probably a fair guess. They are very aggressive. Now I should say that you are pretty used to people coming through here that are not the best. Where you live, most people are pretty shitty, and it's not even the nicest people are pretty rude. But that so this isn't super unusual. But that being said, there are occasionally there are also murderers and thieves and stuff. This place can be dangerous. So I don't know. So these might just be run-of-the-mill people, but they also seem to have specific ideas for what they're doing right now.
Okay, then I'll step to the side, but trail, not trail them, but as if I am attending them.
Yes.
But I'm definitely gonna have the cantrip Sacred Flame ready.
Okay.
Just in case they need a little bit of warning off. Hey, y'all. No.
A thing I should have asked at some point. Do you have a weapon, and do you carry it at all times?
She has a mace and a light crossbow.
Okay.
But she does not carry them inside the church. Those are for when she's out on missions with Father.
Gotcha. Okay, that's perfectly fair. So these three figures, they start walking just straight down the center row of this church. And I'm going to describe the church all like the church is like this large, very big cathedral with two towers at the front of it. One tower being like a tall spire, and then the other tower being a tall bell tower, which is where you sleep and ring your bell in the morning. So they are walking straight down this path towards where Father and Alberta are sitting, and the short one is sort of eyeing you, sort of walking backwards as you're walking with them. As they approach, the one in the middle says, "Hey, Father Crane, how you doing today?" He looks up and he says, and you see him sort of like sigh in a very like disgusted way. I'm doing well today. I'm doing well. How are you? Oh boy.
This just sounds like a really awkward phone call.
It's a very awkward phone call. And the one in the middle says, "I see you've got something of ours. How about we come collect?" Father Crane has like a look of confusion for a moment, and then the orc woman and points towards Alberta. The goblin looks at you, and do you get like it looks, I'm judging by your face, you have like an unhappy look on your face when that happens?
She's trying to be like as just stone-faced, like I'm not here, like don't pay attention to me, don't look like I am a fixture of the church.
Gotcha.
No need to pay attention to me, sort of thing. But she is upset at the possible threat to Alberta.
Gotcha. The goblin like looks at you, looks at your stony reaction, and he goes, and turns around and like stops paying attention to you, and just keeps on walking that way. Now, listeners, you might have noticed I have set up a situation where I'm going to be voicing 5 different people. Yay for me.
Congratulations.
So many. At this point, you have caught up. You are pretty much right on top of Alberta and Father Crayon. The hobgoblin points towards Alberta and says, "We'll be taking that." And the large orc woman grabs Alberta by the shoulder and yanks her up and turns around, and they start walking out. "Now wait one moment." The hobgoblin turns around, but is still like walking backwards. They're starting to walk past you, and he says, "You can't just come in here and he looks very angry at this interruption, this violent outburst in a holy space. "That's strictly not allowed." "Well, unless you're gonna do something to stop me, I don't think we have anything to talk about." Yeah, nothing. You can't do anything about this. And they keep walking, and Father looks to you and nods.
And there goes a sacred flame on the hobgoblin. Seems to be the leader of the group.
That is a fair assessment. Roll me how that do. How'd that do?
How that do? The target must succeed on a dex saving throw.
All right, guys. Let's see a dex saving throw. So, as I recall, I just roll a d20 and I add my dex modifier, right?
Yeah, you have to beat 14.
Oh, I have to beat 14. Oh goodness. Oh, I am sorry. 15. Do you get anything for like half or anything like that? That was a very good roll on my part. I'm sorry. He does not have great dex.
No. It doesn't look like there's any half. It's only a cantrip.
That's nice at least. It's something you can use multiple times.
Yeah. As long as they don't succeed their dex.
Yes. So you shoot this sacred flame, and this hobgoblin sees it and is you shoot out, but not wanting to hit the pews behind him, you aim a little bit off from directly at him and end up striking the floor next to him instead of what would have been a more sure shot.
A warning shot.
A warning shot. And so he raises his hand and points it at you and says, "Hey, this isn't about you," and goes to keep walking. At which point, Father raises his hand and also does a sacred flame. I'm gonna say that he has 16. I'm gonna say that he is slightly better at sacred flames than you are, but his body is weak.
I mean, it's fair. He probably taught me how to do the sacred flame.
Yeah, that's fair. And the hobgoblin does not save this time. So tell me, how does sacred flame do? How damage do?
So it's 1d8 radiant damage, but what level do you think Father would be? Because it increases at 5th, 11th, and 17th.
I mean, he would be at least 5th. I would not say that he's 11th.
All right, then 2d8 radiant damage.
2d8. Oh, geez. That's a lot.
Only if you roll well.
That's true. 3 and 3. Do I add anything to that? Any modifiers or anything?
No.
Okay.
It's just 2d8 radiant damage.
So he fires that same sort of flame that was rotating around him earlier, rotates in a circle in his palm and then collects and shoots out, striking this hobgoblin in the back. The hobgoblin stumbles forward with, you can smell the scent of burning leather as his leather armor is singed from behind, and he takes 6 radiant damage.
Radiant.
Oh, so I guess it's not really flame damage, but you know, aesthetically, let's work in some flavor.
It's aesthetically a flame.
It's aesthetically a flame. So this one stumbles forward, hey, and he pulls out a sword on his side, and he is going to rush forward to try to strike Father. I'm gonna roll a little bit on here. And he does a really crappy job. And he misses that strike. And then the goblin is just sort of like laughing to the side, and the orc woman is still just walking straight out with Alberta, who is struggling at her grip. And now it's your turn again.
I'm trying to figure out if I want to cast a 2nd level spell right off the bat.
If it makes you feel any better, you will just this is metagaming a little bit, but you will definitely get a chance to rest between now and the beginning of the next session.
I mean, I figured, but also I'm just...
You don't want to pull out all the stops?
Spiritual weapon is just so cool.
Oh, and you don't have a weapon on you. I mean, if you're gonna use it, now is the time. Though, right? That's not hey, I'm not trying to choose what you do, but that's very appropriate for the situation.
Just well, now I have a sword.
Oh man.
You didn't think I had a sword, but now I have a sword.
I am so glad that you decided to be chill and just be no, I wouldn't have had a weapon right now. That could feel really cool. Okay. You think about what you would do. I'll step back.
Yeah, so I'm gonna cast a spiritual weapon. It's a 2nd level spell. It's a bonus action, so then I can also hit somebody in the same turn.
Oh, cool.
Who?
Do you want to lay out of the situation?
Can I get to the orc woman who's holding?
Yes, she is
Alberta?
She is only 10 feet past where you are standing right now.
Okay, so I can definitely make it to her in the same move.
Yeah. You have a 30-foot movement speed.
Yeah.
Yes. Delightful.
Yes, I do believe I'm going to hit her with this, as long as I roll well enough. I do believe I'm going to hit her with this spiritual sword that I've got now.
Delightful.
Y'all didn't think I had a weapon, but guess again.
Guess again, people. This how does tell me how does this spiritual weapon form? And you said it was a sword?
It's a sword.
Sword.
It's a sword.
It's a sword. Does it form out of flame, akin to Father, or does it do how do for you?
So it says floating spectral weapon. So I'm I'm assuming that like she kind of just like holds her hand out and this sword appears like hilt like shoop like shoop.
Yeah, kind of like a lightsaber.
Grabs her hand and suddenly a hilt is there, and then here comes the sword.
Oh, delightful.
And now she gets to hit them with a sword.
Nice. Okay, cool. So she swipes, and how's your roll gonna go?
Does a 22 hit?
Yes, definitely. Yes. So you this sword pops out of the nothingness of the ether, glowing and radiant, and you swipe and you hit this orc woman who is so roughly moving your friend, your longtime gonna say father figure, more of a maternal figure in your life, and what's your damage on that?
1d8 plus my modifier. So that'll be 5 plus 4, 9 damage.
Jeez, man, you did a lot.
I take the church very seriously.
Yes, I see that. How much did you say? 9?
9.
She stumbles forward and lets go of Alberta, who cracks her head against a pew and drops unconscious, which listen, that's mostly just so I don't have to deal with her initiative order. So she stumbles and is lost in between the pews. And at this point, the orc woman turns to look at you, and when it's her turn, she's going to do something. But for now,
yes, definitely.
So at this point, Father raises his hand again, and he goes to do another blast. This time against the orc woman. He definitely has the range to do that. And she dodges out of the fiery blast that emits from his hand, and he cries out to you. What would he say? I want to have him say something fun and cool. What would he say? And he cries out, "Not in this place!" And then it is the orc woman's turn, and she pulls a large club from her hip, and she is going to swing that crap at you because you were the person who actually like hit her.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And does 16 hit your AC?
It does, yeah.
Okay. So she swings and hits you with this club, and she does 6 damage.
6?
Yes. By the way, what is your hit points? I should probably know that before I start throwing stuff at you.
My hit point maximum is 46.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you can actually take some damage.
So I'm fine.
Okay. So she hits you with 6, and then it is then the hobgoblin turns towards you, and he looks towards towards Father. He looks towards you, and he's a bit of a Father is a older man. He is tall, thin, dark skin, yellow, almost glowing eyes, and he is not an intimidating figure. You, however, being a half-orc, are something that the hobgoblin is a little bit more used to seeing as a threat. So he is going to turn towards you, and he is going to swipe at you again. 12 to hit?
No.
That misses. So he swipes at you and hits a chunk into the pews when he's trying to swipe at your leg. Yeah, right? Terrible. The worst. At this point, you are focused on these two guys, and you feel a tug at your knee, as the goblin tries to kick you in the back of your knee to knock you like onto your like sort of give you disadvantage on future hits.
How rude.
Very rude. He has like snuck around and is just like, no, I'm not. No, fighting people, that's not my thing. My thing, being a little jerk.
My thing, kicking knees.
My thing, kicking knees. So he is going to try to kick you in the back of the knee. Does a 9 hit your AC?
No.
No. So he tries to kick your knee, and it hits, and you turn and you look at him and are just like, nah, like that was
just
nothing.
Look at him like, what were you trying to accomplish?
What are you trying to accomplish? And he goes, "Heh," and turns and hops behind one of the pews underneath, and is crawling under there now. And it's your turn now.
All right, so right now nobody has Alberta.
Nope.
Okay.
She is collapsed between a couple of the pews. So if you wanted to try to talk to him at this point, you could. If you wanted, you could continue beating him up. You could try to grab Alberta and run. You could shout something to Father to say, like, do this. You have options. And also, I will say, you have probably been in situations in combat where you have had to, where you have taken the initiative. Like Father has expressed that in situations of combat, you don't have to just like wait for him to tell you to do something. He will trust your instincts.
That may be so, but he has also already given me the nod, which is like, beat up these fools.
Yes. True that.
So I feel like I'm assuming the door to the church is still wide open.
Yes, it is still wide open.
I'm gonna like still attack them, but kind of like try to move them towards the door and away from Father and Alberta.
Gotcha. Okay, so you're kind of like hurting them a little bit. Herding. And hurting, I suppose. So
yes, because I do still have that cool glowing sword.
Yeah, that's just there now, right? Like you just have that.
I've just got that for a minute.
Oh, that's good. That's gonna be around for a little while. So who are you gonna swipe at?
I'm gonna go for the hobgoblin.
So the hobgoblin, you swipe your blade at them, at their kind of singed leather armor, and give me your attack roll on there.
Big minor whammies. Does a 19 do it?
You're getting some good rolls. Yes, a 19 does do it. And you hit this dude in his armor, and roll me some damage on that.
Oh, good. I rolled a 7. Okay. So that'll be 11 damage.
Oh, snap. Okay, so I have a question for you.
Yes.
When you are fighting evil people with Father, when you're fighting evil, what are you normally fighting? Are you fighting evil people? Are you fighting like monsters, or what? Are you like, would
both.
You be both? Okay. And follow-up question, are you cool killing people?
With murder?
Yes. Okay. So if you want, that can be a lethal blow.
Not inside the church.
Not inside the church. Okay. So you deliver a devastating blow to this person's side. You hit in such a way that the blade doesn't quite cut through the radiant blade. Maybe it's somewhat like magically blunted or something, but you hear ribs shatter and crack underneath his the leathers, and he collapses and is coughing up blood, and he is down. And at this point, the orc woman, she looks towards you and is like, "Ugh," and she is going to swing a club towards you. But as she's getting ready to do that, because I forgot about the initiative order, Father is going to cast Sacred Flame against her. And she is going to roll a dexterity saving throw. And I think she's going to fail. Let me double check. Yeah, she fails a dexterity saving throw. And what was the damage on that Sacred Flame thing situation? 1d8?
2d8.
2d8 for him because he's got that strong. Yeah.
He's 5th level, right?
Yes, at least.
At least.
So he delivers. Okay, so he strikes his hand out. Once again, the ring of flame meets in the center of his palm and then shoots forward and strikes her in the back of her skull as she is looking towards you. And her head snaps forward with little radiant embers, like not actually on her hair isn't actually on fire, but it's sort of glowing in a way that like is reminiscent of flames, of actual flames burning her hair. And she collapses down in front of you. And at this point, you hear a "oh no" and some scuttling under the pews.
Oh no! Time to get out of here.
And you see some scuttling as the goblin from earlier tries to rush past you. He was sort of circling behind Father, you see now, and he tries to run past the two of you to exit out of the place. He runs directly by you, and if you would like, you could do an opportunity attack against him.
He's leaving?
He's leaving. As far as you can tell.
He can go.
He can go. So he runs out and escapes the place. And the day is won. Hello, everybody. Hello, audience. We are back in this little interim moment while we heard some lovely music, presumably still from the Joy Drops. I doubt I've changed my interim music. We see that Deirdre, is that the correct pronunciation? Deirdre is cleaning things up from this fierce battle, and the hobgoblin and the orc woman, Father has asked you to make sure that they pay penance for their sins. He's not going to have you like kill them because we're in the church. We're in the church. So instead, he has you do the usual thing. Where what's something that you would do to make them pay penance? Maybe you string them up outside of the spire and like just sort of make them face the elements for a couple of days. Maybe you just have them do prayers for a while bound and gagged.
That one sounds good.
You release them on their way.
They just have to pray, ask for forgiveness from their whatever god they worship.
Yeah, you are sort of applying some varnish to one of the pews that was damaged during the fight, and sitting a little bit off away from you, maybe 10 feet, are the two figures who are bound. Their mouths are gagged, and they are both currently unconscious. And the hobgoblin, his gag in his mouth is actually a little bit bloody from presumably maybe a punctured lung or something from those ribs cracking. It's a scene that's being looked upon. In the front of the church, you see that Father and Alberta are walking out from a back area back behind the altar and are walking towards you. And Alberta says, she's rubbing her head a little bit. It's been bandaged, and she says,
I told you that things are dangerous now. I can't do this on my own, but I feel in my heart that something needs to be done. That something has to happen. Thank you for understanding. And Father Cryan, Cryan, he looks
has a sort of reluctant look on his face, and he says, "Well, clearly you can't take care of yourself. I admit that much." And it's like the most that he's willing to say. And he looks towards you and he says, "Child, come here." And you I assume rush forward, finish what you're doing.
Not like I put stuff down. I don't just like drop everything and run. Like I
Cool.
put the things down. I walk over quickly yet quietly.
So I'm trying to get like a vibe for exactly how you follow through with things, and it seems like you obey him unquestioningly, but also in a way that respects the holiness of the place you're in.
Yes.
Cool. So yeah, you come over and meet him, and his chin raised up, his eyes giving off a faint glow. He says, "Prepare your things, Deirdre. I will have you escort Alberta on her mission, to satisfy her dreams, I suppose. Collect your things. You leave first thing tomorrow morning."
Yes, Father.
And Alberta looks at you with a smile on her face and kind eyes, and she says,
"Thank you so much. You don't know what this means to me."
and she reaches and puts one of her hands on your shoulder in a kind gesture. I don't know how you react to that.
Oh, kindness. How do I react to kindness?
How do I react?
Panic.
With that, the sun sets on this church. You guys go through your the mass that you'd been preparing for earlier in the day. The only people in in attendance are those two, the hobgoblin and the orc, and then Alberta standing on the other side. At one point, a merchant opens the door maybe halfway through the mass and walks in to join, but then he sees the two bound and gagged figures, and he's like, "Ugh," and turns around and walks out quietly.
Never mind, not today.
Never mind, not today. And then as the night comes after the mass, you go up to your tower and you gather your small things and you settle in for the night. And tomorrow we'll see what comes for you. And that's where we're going to stop with the actual episode today. But I would like to have a couple other things before we wrap up. So, thing one, I like to, at the beginning of these little sessions, I like to give the player some sort of magical item to bring with them. So, I sent you a list of 4 things on Google Hangouts. On popular video streaming service. I sent you, or video sharing, video web chat service. I sent you a list of 4 things, and these are all little objects that Alberta has given, little trinkets that Alberta has given you over the years. Which one of those is magical?
So I'm guessing which one is magical?
No, you are telling me which one is magical.
Shoot.
So they each do, if it's magical, it does a magical thing. And if you choose it, then it's a magical version of that thing. If you don't choose it, it's just a thing you got. So for the listeners, she is choosing between a little spyglass, a small flask of oil, a old ring, and a tuning fork.
I'm kind of in love with the idea of a magical tuning fork.
Okay. So this object, let me pull up real quick what the description is. 1 second. And I do this, I've done this in different ways with everybody after Eli, which he was very sad about when he learned. But I've done it in different ways with each of them. And I'm still trying to find the best way to handle out giving a little magical item, because I feel like you're level 5. You should have something, something beyond what a normal person would have. So this was submitted by Mr. Brandon Martin Sinkus of he also has a podcast called I Rolled a 4. And he submitted this object, which is a tuning fork that is alternately hot and cold. It occasionally produces a static spark. Once per day, you can use a bonus action to tap a creature with the fork and choose from a few different types of damage, blah, blah, blah. So I might tweak exactly how this works, but I'm going to go ahead and send it to you.
All right.
And it's too much for me to just read it all out on air. Boop.
Boop. Oh boy, that is quite a bit.
It is quite a bit. So I might tweak that a little bit, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and wrap things up. Do you have anything that you would like to plug while we, make our way out of the show?
Oh boy. I already mentioned earlier my GURPS podcast, Fantasy Shorts.
GURPScast. Fantasy
but
Shorts.
I do also have a podcast where I talk about comic book characters.
Delightful. Tell us
and
more.
that's called Capes and Japes. We try to
That is a great name.
A casual, if you know stuff about comics, cool, we have a fun time. If you don't know stuff about comics, you can learn stuff about comics. So
Delightful.
that's at Capes and Japes.
All right, everybody, check both of those out. Capes and Japes if you want some capes and some japes, and then Fantasy Shorts if you want to get some more of your fantasy show on. And the nice thing about Fantasy Shorts is because it's on hiatus, that means you can catch up. You can catch up, guys. For once in your life, you can catch up on a show. They're not going to be making more stuff for a little while, which means you can catch up.
You can catch up. You can listen to the first campaign, or you could listen to the second campaign, which is only 5 episodes.
Yeah, man. Guys, for once in your life, just finish something. For once.
Supernatural
Come
Summer
on.
Camp.
That is very compelling description. I am very compelled. As a person who is very compelled by this description, can I jump into that having not listened to any of the first campaign?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Hey, listener, just jump into that. Just that. All right, guys. We're gonna let things go now. I feel like in the last campaign, Amber and I settled on a actual outro. I don't remember what it was because it's been a little while since we recorded, but I'm gonna try, and if I'm wrong, then nobody correct me. Okay, this has been Side Character Quest with your host, Ty, and your side character guest,
Eliane.
Eliane. Pay your respects. Thanks to the Joy Drops for the use of Not Drunk as our intro and outro music. Find them at thejoydrops.com. You can find us at sidecharacterquest.com, at SCQ Podcast on Twitter, or by email at sidecharacterquest@gmail.com.
You might have already heard of Wonder Woman, but did you know that there were several people who went by Wonder Girl?
You've heard of Spider-Man, but did you know there's more than just Peter Parker? Well, here at Capes and Japes, we can fill you in on all that stuff that you maybe didn't know. My name's Olivia.
And I'm Eliane, and you can catch us every Tuesday wherever you listen to podcasts.
We'll see you there.
There'll be like a little music playing and then bloopers.
Now, just because I get really paranoid about these things, can you double check that your audio is recording?
My audio is recording. I am looking at it right now.
Excellent. I get super paranoid and I ask people like usually twice a show and I edit it out most of the time. Who knows if I'll edit it out this time?
Who knows?
Who knows? Not I.
We're just doing a great Scooby-Doo right here.
Very Scooby-Doo.
Ashtar the Destroyer.
Ashtar. Oh, I'm writing this down.
Alberta.
Is the name of the nice old lady. Oh yeah.
The nice lady's name is Alberta. Man, I can't wait for Father to be all like, yeah, maybe this is a problem.
Maybe there's something going on here.
Maybe she should go with you.
Yeah.
But also, I so want to be like, when Alberta explains what's actually going wrong with like these dreams and whatever, I so want to be all like, have you tried praying?
Wonderful. Oh, wonderful. Unless it presents itself naturally, I think that I'm going to have her explain like what has been going on in her dreams to you during the next episode. During this episode, I think it's sort of assumed that I don't know if I made this clear, but she was explaining that to him prior to you getting down there. So like they both know what's up, but Father doesn't really feel the need to explain that to you.
Yeah. He's just gonna be like, do this and this and this, and then come home. I don't know about that.
Well, I'll trust you on that. It's very possible that I am making crap up. Hello. We are very close to the end of your whole adventure.
Oh my god. This is it. All we were doing was beating up this orc and hobgoblin and everybody.
The wyvern shows up, bursts through the doors, is like, I want my tooth back, and then they eat you, and they take their tooth back.
And that's like, oh, this tooth? Stab.
And welcome back. No.